Grandpa Dave here for you. How's your day going? Well, good. I'm going to ruin it for you. I want you to go get your softest teddy bear, a blanket, and turn your lights on really bright because you're going to need them. Hold on. Like I said, I hope you're prepared for this one because this is probably the most scary thing that ever happened to me. And hopefully you'll feel the fear. Providence, like any other town, had that one house. The neighborhood house that I'm talking about was directly across the street from the old elementary school. The word was out on the street. All the kids in the neighborhood talked about it. It seemed that 11 million years ago, there was a witch that lived there and built this house. And she cursed it. Yeah, it was cursed. And the curse was that all the plants had come alive and eat kids that walked by, and nothing could live there. All the trees were dead. It was like a 2-3 story Victorian style home, totally maniacal, ugly, evil thing. It was known in the neighborhood, and those who are awake to certain feelings, that when you're walking down the sidewalk, you immediately cross the street to the other side, avoiding this property. Well, it became apparent to us as the feared monster fighters in the town that something had to be done. Now, my troopers, they're a good, bold, and courageous group, as you may know from other stories. One in particular, Tommy, he was my main lieutenant. Now, Tommy was about the same age as me. I think we're about a month apart. Tommy was a little taller than I was, and he had freckles all over his face. Matter of fact, he had more freckles than face. But, he was my good lieutenant. Well, Tommy had a brother that he was like, we were 7, and he had to have been like 14, 15. And he was full of good information. I mean, he told us all kinds of interesting things. And, the thing about his brother is he was starting to grow a mustache. Oh, yeah, that meant Socrates type smart. I mean, this guy was to be listened to. Everything he said would have been, pay attention. Now, he informed us that it was true that the weeds and plants on this property would eat you alive as a kid. They'd drag you in and nobody ever see you again. But the main thing to worry about this home was the ghost that lived in it. Oh yeah, you had a ghost. Yeah, it was the ghosts of ghosts. This is the ghost that made ghosts out of other ghosts. And then he'd eat those ghosts. But he mainly really liked to eat the neighborhood kids. Now this is something that the witch had come up in her curse. And like I said, this is like thousands of years before there was even a town. We likely kind of assumed as kids when we talked about this house that it was built before the pyramids. Well, this house was, as I said, maniacal and very ugly, very unkept. Nothing was taken. There's no green on that property whatsoever. Nothing could survive there. It was ugly, but multiple windows had been taken out. Kids taking pot shots from the side of the road trying to get to the ghost. On the west side of this house was a property, and in this home was an old woman. This old woman was very mean and very frightening, and she would protect this house, and it was well known that you do not cross this old lady. Well, I'd seen this show, and it was a pretty good show. And these people were fighting exactly what was in that. Now, there was also, by the way, and I had a little postscript in it, that we also considered the possibility that not only a ghost, but there could be vampires in this house. We didn't know, but somebody said something to somebody somewhere, and it came down that was a possibility. And even the possibility of werewolves, but you never know, you never heard any howling. Well, this old lady, she kept us from assaulting this house. On this show that I watched, they were using something magical liquid. It looked like water to me, and they were putting it on things, and the vampires would fluff up and disappear, and the ghosts would run screaming in terror. There was something called holy water. Now, I, at 7 years old, had no idea what holy water was or where you got it. Well, I went to bed that night thinking about the problem of what that holy water was, and it occurred to me that a way to make it myself. So the next morning, I got into Mom's cupboard, and she had 7 wooden bowls for salads in there. So I took one of her bowls. I went downstairs where the basement monster is, but that was also where my dad had his drill. You see, my dad had made a mistake of showing me how the drill worked, and I knew where his drill bits were. So I put a drill bit in, and I started to drill holes in Mom's bowl. On about the 7th or 8th, the drill bit broke, but Dad had so many drill bits I didn't think he would notice. So I took this bowl with the holes in it and I went upstairs to the sink, and I got another one of Mom's big bowls, big mixing bowls. And I put water into the bowl with the holes, and it dripped through the holes. Therefore, I was making holy water. As so I thought as a 7-year-old. I'd come up with, I thought, about 30 or 40 gallons. I don't know what a gallon was. It was just a bunch of water. I took this bowl outside and hid it into the weeds. The next day informed my troopers to show up, that we were going to have a mission. So you see, it was through the kid network, the old lady that lived in the house next door to the scary place. She is evidently had gone to visit some relatives in some far off country called California. I didn't know where California was, but I assumed it was on another world somewhere. And she was going to be gone for a good week. Well, just before, we'd gone up and hit her doorbell twice. She didn't come, so we knew that it was true. She was gone. So I had my troopers come over. I had them each bring a squirt gun. Now, back then, you can get these really cool little squirt guns for like 10 cents at the store. And if you're really lucky, you could get a 4-pack of them for 25 cents. I explained that we needed to load these up with this holy water that I'd made, that we were going to need it. Now, I discussed when the possibility that we should do this assault. We threw out ideas midnight, but that was past bedtimes and probably not going to work. Plus the scare factor. We talked about maybe doing it at noon, but everybody had to be home for lunch. Then there was quiet time, nap times and other things. So working our schedules out, we decided the best time would be 2 o'clock. Well, 2 o'clock come around. Now, I'd gone to the store earlier. I had 3 cents. And I'd purchased myself 6 Mary Janes, which I had in my pocket. The reason for that will be, you'll find out. As we went up to the place, we were standing off to the side, in safe zone. You could see the house. Now, Tommy's brother had informed us that the house had a back door. The back door, the boo-hoo in the neighborhood was that the back door was unlocked. I didn't know. I'd never been back there because of the weed monsters that would kill us. But, he was like Socrates, so I listened to him. Well, we got a good angle on it, and I could kind of see what looked like a porch on the back side. I don't know, okay, that's possible. But we needed somebody to reconnoiter. Well, I wasn't going to do it because I'm not going to be eaten by a plant monster. Well, there's a little 5-year-old kid that hung around us. He was kind of our go-to man. Thus, the need for the Mary Janes. I told him for 2 Mary Janes, would he go through those weeds and check out and see if there's a door. Well, he took it. Evidently, he hadn't heard about the monsters. He'd unwrapped one and had it smacking in his mouth, chewing on it. He was walking, a big grin, slobber going down as he walked through the weeds. We thought for sure he'd have been a goner. Imagine our surprise when he made it to the back and excitedly pointed at the door, said, "Door, door." Good kid. So we made our way, Tommy and I and our troopers. Yes, there was a door. And there At the door was what was left of a screen door, now the outer door, and it was hanging on one hinge. Okay, so I said, I got a couple more of those Mary Janes if you'll open that door. Well, he informed me that it was quiet time and he needed to go home. I didn't know what quiet time was. I never had it enforced on me, but many of my friends conveniently brought up that excuse. Oh, I had to relieve him of duty and send him home, still eating the last piece of Mary Jane I gave him. That's when I turned to Tommy, my lieutenant, and I said, Tommy, you're going to have to try out that door. Well, I explained that the outside door was hanging on hinge, so there was the main door. Well, that main door was as maniacal as anything in that house I said was maniacal. That door was very scary. I mean, you could see the scratch marks from the monsters trying to get in and out. Well, if you could picture the worst possible case of a door, there the door handle, and the door handle had a cute little pattern on it. I suppose one day, maybe 1,000 years before, they thought that was pretty decorative. Well, Tommy argued a little bit, but I informed him as my lieutenant he had no choice. Well, he obediently went up, even though I believe I think I was the older one. Yeah, I think I was a month older than him. And he went up to the door. And you could feel the heaviness of the air. Because there were no birds, I swear there were no birds, there were no crickets, nothing. It was just total dead. And Tommy went up to grab the handle. And he must have bumped the door with his hand because the door went, just an open crack. Now Tommy, at that point, I swear, the freckles left his face. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and our troopers looked at us. What do we do? I said, squirt it, the holy water. We squirted it down. We squirted the whole thing down really good. That's right. We're safe. I've seen it in a movie. If it happens in a movie, it must be true. So we made it a little bit more and pushed it on. And we could see into the kitchen. There in the kitchen, cabinet doors in various stages of broken hanging. Smell from the room was awful. It was a mildewy, we called it ghost fart. Yeah, ghost farts. The house was full of ghost farts. Old, musty death. We walked in bravely. That is the term. We walked in, unsure of what we were going to see. Dust flying through the air. Each step made the floorboards creak. And just creak, and got into the kitchen. Tommy and I realized we were alone. I looked to the back door. There on the patio were our troopers. I ordered them to move forward, sally forth, so to say. They piled in one at a time, reluctantly. I said, spray it. We squirted everything. Because in the movie, that's what they did, and evidently it kills these evil things. On the one side of the kitchen, there was a doorway, a little hallway. Now, the light was pretty weak, because all the light we had was what was coming through the windows. Now, I was smart enough to pilfer one of my dad's flashlights, and I had it in my back pocket. It was one of them small ones. I thought we might need it, and I'm glad I brought it. I reached back, and I kicked it on. Now, note to self, tell Dad to buy batteries. So I clicked it on, and it was weak. The beam was barely show, but it did show some interesting features as we walked down the hall. The hall opened up to this big living room, full of ghost farts, very smelly. And there the carpet, at least it looked like carpet. It could have been moss monster track. I don't know what it was. It looked like carpet. It didn't feel like it, but it looked like it. We come to a stairway that went upstairs. For those that went to public school, stairs go up or down. Just a little help there. We got to the stair and I said, Tommy, what? We need to go up there. Then go up. No, you have to go up. You're the lieutenant. None of the troopers would come. They were still in the kitchen. We had to convince them to come up. And Tommy says, fine, whatever. I says, tell you what, here's a Mary Jane. Thus, armed, we squirted the stairway down. That was pretty sure that we'd be all right. Tommy makes the first step. Spiders scurry from everywhere, running in terror. Dust flying up, ghost farts everywhere. And the stair went, evidently the ghost had an alarm. We had set off the ghost alarm. We stopped. Again, Tommy's freckles had disappeared. And I might have felt a little something going on with myself. But we went forward because we were troopers. We were there for a mission. We were going to take care of that Mr. Ghost and the vampires that they come across. Yeah, that's what we were going to do. Now, at the top of the stairs was a hallway. And in the back of the hallway was a window. Somebody had thrown a rock through it, so the curtains were kind of spread a little bit, so you could see a little light from upstairs. Every other step creaking, the ghost was alarms going off. We were sure that he knew we were there. Yeah, it was pretty scary. When you got a ghost that make ghosts out of ghosts, that is like, wow, you know. Tommy got to the top stair. I was 2 stairs below him. We were squirting like crazy. I should have brought reloads. We were getting close to running out. It occurred to me if I could have figured out how to put it into water balloons so we could have holy water grenades. That would have been useful. Note to self, try later. We get up top, I meet Tommy. I said, all right, there's 2 doors on this side. And there's a door here on this side. Tell you what, you hold the ground there. Then again, I had to look back. Troopers were in the bottom stair. We had to convince them to come up. Cowardly bunch. I reached over. I grabbed the doorknob and I opened it. And oh my heck, it was a broom closet, and there was a broom in there. That was proof positive that was a witch's home. It was a witch's garage. Yeah, there was a room for about 20 brooms in there. That one broom scared me. There could be a witch in here too. I turned to Tommy. Tommy looked at me and I looked at him. Tommy swallowed hard. I said, that's right, man. I got you covered. Go get that door, open it, grab that puppy and pull it. Tommy reached carefully. Ghost farts everywhere. The light coming through the hall from that window was just enough. And Dad's flashlight put just enough to make it even scarier. Tommy opened the door just a little bit. We both peered in, carefully. Dark. Just a little bit of light from a crack in the curtains. It was terrifying. Then it happened. A terrifying thing. A gust of wind had come through the window on the end, through the hole, whining, and the turns were moving. It was scary. The ghost was awake. We were scared spitless. My troopers went from the top of the stairs downstairs. Cowardly fools. I said, go ahead and wait down there. I said, Tommy, go ahead. Go in. I'm going in there. Yeah, go in. I got you covered. Just squirt what's left of the water in there. Then when that ghost's going to get you, I'll go get the other room while you're doing that one. Tommy said, all right, I'll do it. I said, good, because you have to. You're the lieutenant. Tommy goes in. Little baby steps. I could kind of see in there, with Dad's flashlight. You can kind of see what was probably a bed, or was it a rack to punish people. Torture chamber. It could have been. There were shadows all over the room. I was glad Tommy had that room. But I still had my room to get to. Tommy disappeared into the darkness of the room, and I had made 3 or 4 steps towards the other room when Tommy gave out that biggest screech and yell. Holy heaven, everything left me, my soul left my body. I was scared spitless. I must have been ashen white. It was terrible. He come out full force. He was saying, oh crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, it moved, it moved, it moved, holy crap, it moved, it moved, moved, moved. And he ran down the stairs. Well, I was trying to figure out, I got holy wire, I didn't know how to do holy crap. Evidently, I'd got prepared with the wrong thing. Well, I was scared too, because there was another gush of air that came through that window, and I was right behind him. We got to the bottom of the stair, cut through the kitchen, out the door. It was terrifying. Ghost fart everywhere. Yeah, that wind howling through that window. I could still hear it today. We all made our way out to the sidewalk. Safe zone. Looking back, it was like that maniacal house was laughing at us. Yeah. Just down the street by the church, on the corner, was the old phone booth. We'd made our way down there in record time. There we were safe. Yeah, the phone booth was safe zone. Ma Bell. Something familiar to protect us. We could at least call somebody to come take care of us, arrest the ghost. Tommy, all he could say was, holy crap, it moved. I never did get to find out what he saw. He wouldn't talk about it. As a matter of fact, I don't think his freckles ever came back. Yeah, that was a scary thing, But we had a job to do, take care of the neighborhood. Yeah, I even think about it now, and I get a little nervous. I get often wonder if that ghost followed me home. I really do. Even now, I'm 940 years old. I should do a couple postscripts to this thing. Postscript number 1. I didn't get in trouble for the bowl because it was well hidden, and Mom obviously forgot she had that many. My dad did question me about the broken drill bit. Of course, I didn't know anything about it, and he bought it. Postscript number 2. Now this is interesting. For those who doubt this story is true. 2 or 3 weeks later, I go to see Tommy. He still hadn't told me what he'd seen. The house was empty. Tommy and his family had moved out. No goodbyes. No farewells. Just gone. I wonder why. Postscript 3. Within 2 months, the adults in the neighborhood tore the house down. They brought in heavy equipment and tore the ground up. I wonder why. You be the judge. Guarantee you. But there are those. Even in the later years, we still wouldn't walk by that sidewalk. Oh no. You could feel something was still there. But like I said, I sure had a feeling that thing followed me home. And sometimes I think I see him here in this house. Oh, sorry, I'm just going through my emails here. I had to send something there to the bishop there, prime minister too. I was going through these emails, and it occurred to me that there's something going on in this world, and I get a lot of messages from new husbands. They just got married and they're running into trouble. You know, things like my wife burnt the cold cereal. I'd never seen anybody burn frosted flakes before. What do I do, Grandpa Dave? My wife burnt my fresh ice water. How did she do that? I don't know. I really don't. And you know, the paparazzi, everybody calls me and asks me these questions, but I just reading this one in particular, he's asking me questions about what to do, and you know, I'm going to give him some advice, and I'll give you some advice too, kind of like killing two birds with one stone. Now, husbands, think about this. You know, if your wife does something completely wrong, like burning the cereal, you need to just explain to her how your mom did it. She'll thank you for it later. Goodbye.